Naomi, can you cover for Lily this weekend? She and the kids are going out of town. That was my mother's voice on speakerphone as I packed for my 4th consecutive night shift. No hello. No, how are you, honey? Just the same unspoken assumption that had followed me all my life. You're free, right? You'll say yes, right? I'm Naomi Blake. I'm 30, a paediatric nurse in Portland, and up until recently, I thought being the good daughter meant never saying no. I believed loyalty meant silence, and I believed love looked like sacrifice. I was wrong. If you're someone who's ever felt like the invisible backbone of your family, the one who holds it all together but never gets held in return, stick around. This isn't just a story about betrayal. It's about waking up. It's about setting boundaries. It's one of those revenge stories you don't see coming because the person who fights back is the one no one saw as a fighter. I used to think I had a pretty great family. Nothing dramatic, just normal. My parents, Douglas and Martha Blake, were retired school teachers with a thing for frugality and family photos. We had matching sweaters every Christmas and an embarrassing number of group selfies at Red Robin. My older sister Lily was the golden child, charismatic, married young, had 2 adorable kids, and could talk her way out of a speeding ticket with nothing but a smile. Then there was me. I was the one who quietly kept things going, helped pay off Mom's medical bills when insurance ran out. Gave Dad a new laptop last year when his started making funeral sounds, babysat my niece and nephew more weekends than I can count. And I did it all happily, or at least, I told myself I did. My apartment was small but peaceful, filled with plants and second-hand furniture that I'd fixed up on my own. My job was stressful, but it mattered. I loved the kids I worked with. I loved the nights where my patients got better, or when their scared parents cried from relief, not grief. That kind of thing grounded me. Lily used to tease me for it. "You should get out more," she'd say with a laugh, brushing imaginary lint off her designer jacket. "You're always working, Naomi. You'll turn into one of your plants one day." And Mom, she'd chuckle, but always with a little sigh. "You're so responsible, sweetheart. I just wish you'd do something for you sometimes." Funny, right? That they were always worried I didn't think enough about myself, while making sure I never had the space to try. Every 2 weeks we'd have Sunday dinner together. It was tradition. One Sunday, Lily would host at her big, airy house. The next, I'd drive out to our parents' place. Same old blue ranch-style home I grew up in, filled with photos, faded furniture, and the smell of lemon cleaner. That night, as I sliced tomatoes for Mom's salad, she dropped it like it was casual. "Oh, by the way, Lily and Brian are moving into a new house. It's a fixer-upper in a great neighbourhood. Big mortgage, but they'll make it work." She said it like it was exciting news, normal news, the kind of update that comes with champagne and congratulations. I smiled and said, "Good for them," because that's what the good daughter says. I didn't know yet that their mortgage was in my name. But I would soon. And when I found out, I wouldn't be slicing tomatoes anymore. I'd be slicing ties. It started with a voicemail I almost didn't listen to. I was finishing up a 12-hour shift, running on vending machine coffee and half a granola bar, when I saw the missed call. Unknown number. I nearly deleted it without a second thought, because who checks those anymore? But something made me press play. "Ms. Naomi Blake, this is James from Cascade Home Lending. We've sent multiple notices regarding your past due mortgage payments. Please call us back immediately. You are now 3 months delinquent on your loan for the Highland Grove property." What? Mortgage? I stopped mid-step in the hospital parking lot, heart pounding. The only property I had ever signed my name to was my lease on a one-bedroom apartment with terrible plumbing and an okay view of a brick wall. I called back. "Hi, there's been a mistake. I don't have a mortgage." The man on the other end sounded tired and mildly annoyed. "Ms. Blake, our records show you took out a loan for $623,000 back in January. Payments were made through April. Since then, nothing." "Wait," I said slowly. "Did you say Highland Grove? That's where my—" I stopped. "That's where my parents' new house was. The fixer-upper they had found a great deal on. I had helped them move boxes into it just 2 months ago. They had called it a fresh start." The line crackled. "Are you saying you don't recognize the address?" "I don't own that house," I said, my voice rising. "I never signed any paperwork." "Ma'am, we have copies of your signature on every form." That night, I sat in my apartment staring at the wall like it might explain something. 1,000 questions raced through my mind. Was this a banking error? Identity theft? Some elaborate mix-up? But the sick feeling in my gut whispered a truth I didn't want to face. This wasn't random. This was close, too close. Because who else had access to my social security number, my income info, my signature? Who else knew me that well? You know that moment when something clicks and your whole stomach drops? That was me, sitting in sweatpants, trying to make sense of a nightmare I hadn't even woken up in yet. I know some of you reading this have gotten that kind of call. Maybe it wasn't a mortgage, maybe it was a credit card or a loan, or someone using your name for something you'd never agree to. If it's ever happened to you, tell me in the comments. I want to know. I want people to see just how common it is when the people who betray you are the ones who call you family. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I kept hearing my mum's voice. "You are the most trustworthy person in the house." Was that just her way of saying you're the easiest one to use? By morning, I wasn't just afraid. I was angry, and I needed answers. I spent my next day off sitting in a sterile conference room at Cascade Home Lending, palms sweating on the laminate tabletop. Marcus, an older loan officer type with glasses that kept sliding down his nose, spread a thick folder in front of me. "Everything we have on file, Ms. Blake," he said. "Application, income verification, closing packet. All signed by you." He tapped a perfect swoop of ink on the first page. Naomi E. Blake. My heart lurched. The handwriting looked close, but the loops on the B were too neat, the pressure wrong. Years of hurried charting in the ER had given my real signature a jittery edge. This one felt rehearsed. "Can I make copies?" "You're entitled," he said, sliding over a USB. "But if you're claiming fraud, get a handwriting expert and—" "I will, thank you." Outside, the November air smelled like wet asphalt and burning leaves. I called every forensic specialist in a 30-mile radius until one, Dr. Camden, agreed to squeeze me in that afternoon. He didn't need long. 20 minutes, a magnifier, and a polite cough later, he said, "These aren't yours. See the hesitation marks. Whoever forged this slowed down to mimic shapes instead of writing naturally." He circled the spots in red. They looked like scars. I drove straight to my parents' Fresh Start house on Highland Grove. It was bigger up close, new siding, fresh paint, porch swing, all ready hung. A "For Sale by Owner" sign leaned against the garage wall, half hidden. My stomach flipped. Why list it so soon if it was their forever home? No one answered the doorbell, so I walked around back. Through the kitchen window, I spotted a stack of papers on the island, legal-size thick blue tabs. The top sheet read, "Quick Claim Deed, Transfer of Ownership, under Grantor Naomi E. Blake, under Grantee Lily Blake Campbell." My knees buckled. They hadn't just stolen my name. They were handing the house to my sister, then planning to dump the debt on me, a clean escape. I snapped photos with shaking hands. The garage door creaked open. Mom stepped out, floral apron on, as though baking cookies. She froze when she saw me. "Naomi, what are you— Whose signature is on that deed?" I asked. My voice sounded unfamiliar, cold, steady, surgical. Mom swallowed. "Sweetheart, we were going to explain. Lily and the kids need stability. You're single, no dependents. Your credit's strong. My life is strong," I snapped. "Or it was. You forged my name, mortgaged my future, and now you're gifting the house to Lily." Dad appeared behind her, face flushed. "It's all numbers on paper, honey. Nobody gets hurt if we do this right. In a year, we file Chapter 7 under your name, wipe the slate, and everything evens out." "Except me," I whispered. "I'm the slate." Mum reached for my arm. I stepped back as if her touch burned. For the first time, I noticed how small she looked and how terrifying. "You're our reliable one," she pleaded. "Families help each other." "No," I said, tears blurring the porch light. "Families don't sacrifice one child to rescue another." I walked to my car, the deed photos still glowing on my phone. Behind me, Mom called my name, voice cracking between anger and desperation. I didn't turn around. The engine started, and with it a realization louder than any scream. I hadn't just been left out, I'd been deliberately chosen to lose. The day I filed the police report, it was raining. Not dramatic thunderstorm rain, just steady grey drizzle. The kind Portland is known for. The kind that seeps into your clothes and under your skin. It matched my mood perfectly. The receptionist at the Financial Crimes Unit didn't flinch when I said, "I need to report identity theft." She just handed me a clipboard and said, "Take a seat, someone will be with you shortly," as if people did this all the time. As if it wasn't my life coming apart. Detective Miles was the one who called me in. Late 40s, faded blue eyes, calm voice. He led me to a small room with beige walls and fluorescent lights that buzzed too loud. "So," he said, flipping open his notebook, "you believe someone close to you used your identity to take out a mortgage?" I took a breath. Not someone close to me, my parents. That always lands hard. He blinked, hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Walk me through it." I told him everything. The forged documents, the fake email, the deed transferring the property to my sister, the plan to declare bankruptcy in my name. He listened without interrupting, just scribbling notes. But I could feel the weight of what I was saying settle in the room like fog. I wasn't just making a report, I was drawing a line between myself and the people who raised me. "Do you want to press charges?" he finally asked. The question hit me harder than I expected. My voice shook. "Yes, I do. I have to. Because if I didn't, they'd keep doing it. Maybe not to me, but to someone else. Or worse, they'd convince themselves it was okay." He nodded. "This won't be easy. They'll be angry. But we'll treat it seriously, and we'll get the truth." I left the station with a copy of the report in my hand and a strange hollow ache in my chest. Not from regret, but from reality. I had just turned in my own parents. And the saddest part? I wasn't even sure they'd care more about losing me than they would about losing the house. Mom's text said, "Sunday at 6, just family. Let's clear the air." She even added a heart emoji, like that would soften everything. I almost didn't go. I knew it wouldn't be an apology, it wouldn't be a reckoning. It would be a performance, one last attempt to put the toothpaste back in the tube. But a part of me needed to see if they'd own up to what they did. Their house smelled like rosemary chicken and guilt. The table was set like it was Thanksgiving. Lily was already there, sipping wine like she wasn't standing on a stolen floor. My chair had a placemat, a little folded card that said Naomi, like I was a guest at my own trial. Dinner was stiff, lots of meaningless chatter, updates about Lily's kids, weather. "You look tired, sweetie," Mom said at one point, as if she hadn't wrecked my credit score and my trust in the same month. Finally, Dad cleared his throat. "Look, we know you're upset, but we're a family. Families work through things, quietly." I set my fork down. "Quietly is how you stole a mortgage in my name." Mum's smile tightened. We were desperate. Lily had nowhere to go. Brian lost his job. We thought we'd make it right before you ever knew. "And if you couldn't?" I asked. "What then?" Nobody answered. Lily spoke next. "Do you really want to drag our family name through court? Ruin us?" That did it. "You already did that," I said. "You used me, and you didn't stop until you got caught." I stood up, took out the copy of the police report and set it on the table. "This isn't revenge, it's protection. I have to protect myself now, since none of you would." As I walked toward the door, no one tried to stop me, not even Mom, not even once. And that silence told me more than any words ever could. The house I live in now isn't big, no marble countertops, no smart fridge that talks back, just 2 bedrooms, a small backyard, and a front porch where I drink my coffee in peace. But it's mine, actually mine, signed with my real name, funded with my real income, earned, not stolen. It took almost a year to clear the damage my parents caused. I had to fight every lender, every credit bureau. The mortgage they took out in my name, cancelled after the investigation proved fraud. The bank repossessed the Highland Grove property. Lily moved out quietly before the sheriff's notice was taped to the door. The last time I saw my parents, they didn't ask for forgiveness. They asked for understanding, said things like, "We just wanted to keep the family afloat. We didn't think it would go this far." But they did think. They thought hard enough to forge my signature across a dozen documents and nearly wipe out my future. And the truth is, you don't accidentally betray someone that thoroughly. I still see my niece and nephew from time to time. I bring them art supplies. I teach them how to make paper airplanes and spaghetti from scratch. I don't tell them what their mum and grandparents did. Not yet. Maybe one day, when they're old enough to understand that love doesn't mean obedience and family doesn't mean ownership. Some scars you don't cover. You keep them visible as reminders. My credit score may still be healing, my heart too, but my sense of self, stronger than ever. And every time I turn my own house key in my own front door, I remember, I said no, I said enough, I saved me.